Welcome to another episode of the Uncensored Truth Podcast. I am your brother, old guy from Hip Hop News Uncensored, and sitting across from me is my co-host.
What it do? What's good? It's your brother Sam and Viral Hip Hop News. We're in the building. It is a Tuesday. Another episode of the Uncensored Truth Podcast. Oh God, what's good, my brother?
What up, Sam, man? We back once again, man, after an explosive podcast. Yesterday we back, and I'm happy to be, in the building, man. Got another great lineup once again, today. So, yeah, man, I just want to say peace to everybody that's listening on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you're going to listen to the podcast. We do appreciate you taking the time to listen out, man, and we're going to do our best, just to give you the uncensored truth today, man.
Indeed, we always do, man. Shout out to everyone that watches the Uncensored Truth Podcast on its official channel on YouTube, and they watch it in full. Those who ask, where's the rest of the podcast at? Where's the rest of the podcast? Listen, you can find it on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and all major online outlets. Some things are way too raw for YouTube, so we got to drop all the uncut content over on iTunes. So if you want more from your brother Sam and Oh God, go over to iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and check us out. But oh God, man, what we got on today's ticker, brother? We got a good one today.
Yeah, man, we're going to be talking about Fat Joe, Remy Ma, and French Montana being sued over All the Way Up. That's a pretty interesting story. Also, DL Hughley speaking about Michael Jackson, which is very disappointing, I got to say right now. Paul Mooney, YNW Melly, he put his plea in today. A few other stories too, man. I want to talk about Michael Jackson, Oprah Winfrey probably again a little bit. His nephew has something to say. Will Smith.
Yeah, man.
We got a star-studded lineup today, man. We getting it in.
I'm very excited, man. The most underrated podcast on YouTube, like you said, the most feared podcast on YouTube. And we got more coming. You can stay tuned to the Wake and Bake podcast coming real soon. Getting the sets going for that, man, and that's going to be electrifying. Another aspect from your boys. But yeah, man. Yeah. What we got going on today first, man?
Well, before we do that, man, I just want to just give a quick, announcement, man. Just say, stay tuned, get ready for the Wake and Bake podcast, man. We're very excited about that. A little different format, laid back, different set, and all that. It's just gonna be different. We're gonna cover, a wide variety of topics, and everything. So just say we getting y'all warmed up and ready, because when we launch, we launching. So get ready for that.
And that'll be on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and all the major online outlets as well, man. We're not playing any games. Hashtag Content Kings 2019. We taking over.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I want to actually start, with this story right here, man. So apparently Fat Joe, Remy Ma, French Montana, are the targets of a lawsuit. Now, according to the report that was published on March the 4th, a guy by the name of Eric Elliott, who goes by the rap alias Fly Havana, filed court documents claiming that he co-produced the hit track All the Way Up. Tuesday evening, everybody that's listening on YouTube, you already know what to do. Go ahead and hit that like button for me and make sure that you share this video. I want to talk about Michael Jackson once again, because it seems like every time we talk about this, something new comes out the next day. I mean, it seems like more and more people, are starting to, the tide's starting to change now. So people speaking now, saying, this is wrong. So a lot of people starting to believe this now, man. I don't know what it is, man, but I'm gonna turn my attention to Michael Jackson's nephew, because he spoke up today and he left a very interesting statement, by way of TMZ. And I think we need to listen to this and hear out what the gentleman's saying, man. So here we go. Here's Michael Jackson's nephew.
I know you feel that the family side has not been getting enough attention. What would you say? What would be, if they come to you to interview you, what would you have told the documentary makers?
I would have said that Wade's, changed his story about 4 different times. I would say that Wade, decided he went to my uncle's memorial. He did tribute shows left and right for my uncle. The minute he did not get MJ1, he all of a sudden starts writing a book on the down low. No one wanted to buy the book, and then all of a sudden he comes up with these allegations.
You know that the filmmakers have said that Wade and James were not paid to appear in the film. So
no, but there's a court appeal right now happening, and they're suing the estate for hundreds of millions of dollars. So it's in their best interest to get the public, on their side.
I'm curious what you thought about this backlash that Oprah is getting. Even before this interview was aired, it feels like, Michael Jackson's fans are just assuming that Oprah believes what Wade and James are putting forward.
Well, she watched this on her birthday on David Geffen's boat, and David Geffen, we know, is not the biggest MJ fan, and there's more to that I don't want to get into now, but I think the fans are a lot smarter than people give them credit for, and there's definitely a connection in there. Oprah's never been on our team.
So that clip by way of TMZ sitting down with Michael Jackson's nephew, I thought that was a very interesting clip. We had to play that here, on the podcast. What do you think, though, Sam, man, about this? This versus nephew, but then we'll turn our attention once again to Oprah. But first and foremost, what do you think about his nephew, standing up, defending, his uncle's honor?
Well, obviously someone has to in this situation because it's a smear campaign going on, whether you believe it or not. Now, like you said, there's outlets left and right jumping on this story and talking about it. And you see a lot of people kind of changing their views when it comes to Michael Jackson. And if you look at a story and you let it draw you in, and then they put in front of it based on the true story, and you really actually believe it, then I could see that. And that just kind of shows the gullibility. I don't even know if that's a word, but to show how gullible people really are. And it's very scary to see.
Right.
Now, you look at a man who's had some very, very peculiar behavior in Michael Jackson throughout the years. I think no one will deny that. But then you also have an individual who's been looked at by the FBI. You looked at an individual who's been in court numerous times over the situation and been acquitted. And then you look at the sources. Now, we talked about it yesterday, and we were very, very emphatic in saying we don't play around with pedophilia. We don't play around with people messing with children. That's not a game. And we don't give a fuck who it is, whether it be Michael Jackson, whether it had been the greatest of the great. If they were known for pedophilia, then all that shit is out the window. They deserve to be in a place in history of dogs. That being said, he never was seen or it was never proven that any of this happened. And the sources that are coming out and saying these things have been proven not to be credible, man. Over and over and over. And why is that being ignored? Now, in the R. Kelly situation, I don't mean to hold you up. I'm gonna finish up in a minute. But in the R. Kelly situation, when the R. Kelly documentary came out, and I know a lot of people are getting mad when I compare R. Kelly to Michael Jackson, but it's just so close in relation, and they're so close in correlation that you got to. When you look at R. Kelly, when the documentary came out, numerous girls started coming out. It was like an outpouring, like, damn, whoa, now this has to have some attention. What other boys you see coming out right now? All you see is people going, hey, Corey Feldman, is this true about what Michael Jackson? Nah, Michael Jackson never did anything to me. Macaulay Culkin, no, he never did anything to me. You never hear anything else. So it's just, it just raises the picture of, you ask yourself why they would do this. And he brought up David Geffen. I got David Geffen's thing here, American business magnate, producer, film studio executive, philanthropist. He co-created Asylum Records and Gave It Records, DGC Records. So he's a music guy. Hates Michael Jackson. You start kind of putting these pieces together.
And he said they watched it on a boat, probably was having a little liquor. So he was able to, pretty much, sway. And then you got Oprah, she, being a victim, of molestation, I think when she was younger, you know what I mean? So she's dealing with that. Oprah actually, goes on to say, for me, this moment transcends Michael Jackson. It's much bigger than any one person. And Winfrey said this during the hour-long, conclusion of Neverland. He said, this is a moment in time that allows us to see this societal corruption. So when Michael Jackson's nephew, makes the correlation, it says, does Oprah agree, that she believe Robeson and the other accusers? I think she does. She's facilitating this, and she's using this, as an opportunity, I guess, to heal the victims. I don't see anything wrong with that. But if it's that at the expense of tearing down an innocent man's legacy, I think that's a a horrible thing that we see, a travesty that we see happening, right before. So I definitely want to salute, not to say because we weren't there. We weren't there. All we can do is just, like I said, before, is look at the information in front of us. And like his nephew alluded to, people are smarter than you think. We see what it is. We see that anytime they try to deflect and say, well, we're not making any money, he tells us that, oh, okay, they got to appeal in so they can make money. Like you alluded to, the interviews, the different thing, maybe a book deal, which the guy tried to write, just flopped. Mm-hmm. These things equate to dollars, money, publicity, social media. They're going to make money from this. It hit HBO, just another bag. So it's sad, man, to see this. Once again, Michael Jackson is dead. He can't say anything. When they had the opportunity to put this man away and put that stigma onto him, he was found innocent. He walked off. So this is a sad situation. Now, another thing that surprises me though is some of our celebrities, I should say, activists in the community, that anytime something happens, they have something to say. And we'll speak about D.L. Hughley because he put a audio out. TMZ ran down on him. And I just want to play what he said real quick, and we can talk about this aspect as well.
Man, part 1 of HBO's Leaving Neverland premiered yesterday. Yeah, everyone's talking about it. Right. Do you think it's gonna affect Michael Jackson's legacy?
Well, it can't affect him. Here's what it's crazy to say let the man rest, because he is resting. Your idea of him is not, and who you believe he was. But I think that even if you don't believe that he's guilty of those things, it says a lot to society would allow a man knowingly to hang around young boys like that and be in this room and holding hands and all that kind of stuff, something we would never allow somebody else to do absent that staggering talent he had. And it says a lot about a society that was willing to look the other way.
Also, Oprah's getting a lot of backlash from this because, she's getting a lot of hate messages just because she's, interviewed those.
Oprah's a woman who's been sexually assaulted. Oprah's a woman who was an investigative journalist. Oprah's a woman who gave the documentary a chance, and she has an opinion on it. And I think that a lot of people who are weighing in or should at least see the documentary before they make a decision. It's dumb to answer a question before it's even asked.
And that's the part that I don't like. That I don't like that part when he says watch the documentary, because just because somebody makes a movie about you don't mean that it's true.
Wordplay, man. Yeah,
and it's like, are you serious, D.L. Hughley? But Sam, man, what do you think about D.L. Hughley? Speaking on this.
Well, it's the wordplay, like you said. Somebody puts out the word documentary, and you automatically are supposed to assume it as being truth, because you got people that are doing a documentary. Now, you got a D.L. Hughley, who I spoke about on this podcast, whether that had been, subliminally or just outright, that is just kind of throws out some questionable behavior on IG. You got these fake activists. Talked about this a lot, where they'll go ahead and spew all of this shit, but then when it's time to talk, they kind of go sideways and say some shit like, well, okay, well, if D.L. Hughley said it, this must be true. And if you listen to what D.L. Hughley said, great comedian, but does some questionable shit off. And we would love to have him on the podcast and sit here and talk to him directly. We've offered many a times, seen him on Vlad, but never seen him anywhere else. It's cool. But when you look at how he comes at it, Bill Cosby, negative. R. Kelly, all negative. And now this, all negative. But do you question Elvis Presley? He was a pedophile. He did some wild shit. Do we question the priest? Do we question all these other people when we have questionable people holding hands with children, doing this with children, doing that? Why aren't they held just as equally accountable? Also, and I'm not justifying that behavior. I'm not justifying the behavior of Michael Jackson. I can't explain that. But what I can explain is I don't know any black man under FBI investigation for 10 years. I don't know any black man that walked into a court for pedophilia 3 times in a row and got off all 3 times.
That actually did it?
Because there was no evidence.
Right. Or the alleged hush money. Talk about that. He said people saying that they keep throwing this stuff around that Michael Jackson may have allegedly, paid to keep people quiet.
Well, Michael Jackson was a check cutter. That's what we're hearing.
No, I mean,
he was a check cutter.
Right.
And now that the money has dried up, now they want to start talking. Well, my question is, Michael Jackson has been dead for 10 years. So you mean to tell me his estate all of a sudden just said now after 10 years, nah, fuck it, we're not going to pay them no more now? Or did they ever pay him? That's just, it's some real flaky shit in that. Now, like I said, I haven't seen the documentary. Excuse my ignorance for those who feel like you need to see the documentary to claim some truth over what you believe and what you don't believe in Michael Jackson, because nothing new came within the 10 years he was dead. We all knew this prior to. Right. Back in 2012, I believe, if I'm not, it wasn't 2012, but Robson, he had a situation where he was in there and admitted to lying and admitted to all of this shit prior to it happening. So it looks like a money grab. But Paul Mooney, legendary comedian, writer, he said something about Michael Jackson. Do not watch that bullshit about Michael Jackson. Play his music instead. I think a lot of people may take that out of context, but what you need to realize, his music and his music was powerful. And he had a lot of messaging within his music, a lot of love, a lot of positivity, a lot of they don't really care about us. And it was a lot of music with some subliminal messaging. And I think when you see a Paul Mooney saying play his music instead, he's not ignoring the fact of pedophilia. He's not ignoring anybody touching children. He's ignoring the fact that he knows that there may have been an agenda going on with Michael Jackson. Listen to his message instead.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? And he's also said things about Oprah Winfrey. He called her Aunt Jemima with a degree. So he said this shit back in 2010, 2011.
Right. No, I'm definitely, and shout out to Paul Mooney, for saying what he said, because we need guys who want to come out and just give it straight. That's why our podcast, was so popular at what we do, because we just give you the straight truth, no cut. And that's what Paul Mooney did. That's 100%, accurate. Like, these are allegations and nothing more, nothing less. Again, once they had the opportunity to get this man in court, he walked out of there. So all you can do is just go to his music now, and you put it on a scale, it far outweighs what they're accusing him of. The joy that people get. You mentioned your son, the little kids that fall in love with his music. It's healing music. It's love music. You know what I mean? All, anything, for good time, you put Michael Jackson in. Those allegations, man, fuck them. I just don't believe it at this point, man. And it's a sad thing. And I'm not even surprised. Because to me, this is a reoccurring theme that we see, with us.
Oh God, let's end this conversation with, I'm gonna ask you a question, man. How often do we see our black entertainers, our black activists, whether that be in Hollywood, just in a public light, how often do we see them die with damn near $1 billion worth of assets?
How often?
Not often. Nah. Michael Jackson is damn near there, if I'm not mistaken. He has like $1 billion worth of assets right now that he's sitting on. They are upset about that. Let's really think about it. Let's not just believe everything. That's
the Sony catalog. We talk about that, on what he owned, just his influence, see, it's one thing. Influence is huge. When you look at, what he was able to accomplish, just pretty much transcending any other star, any other musician that ever lived. He was probably the biggest ever. People passing out, crying, selling out arenas. Like, this dude was like, I don't want to say a god, how dare I use that word, but close to it. People, pretty much worship Michael Jackson. You can use that in a few ways, and he did it with his music, but now they're trying to pretty much turn it around and use it as a negative. That's why it's important, for people, to just listen to, his music, the great parts of it, and vibe out to it, and don't even feed into, what they're trying to do with the documentary and all that, and watch that and let that taint your image, of Michael Jackson at this point, man. Definitely.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. Yes, sir. But you tuned into the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother, Old God and Sam, man. Going in today on this Tuesday evening, we want to say peace to everybody listening on any Google outlet, podcast, Spotify, anywhere. I'm going to say podcast, outlet. But yeah, man, definitely in the building today. I want to jump over here to this next story and talk about YNW Melly pretty much pleading not guilty to 2 counts first degree murder. Now remember that I think you reported the story, if I'm not mistaken, that he pretty much allegedly pretty much murdered 2 of his close friends that was saying, but he pleaded not guilty today. This is by way of XXL, and we know about his music. I don't know if you listened to his music yet, but it was crazy because striking similarities to what allegedly happened. When you listen to the words, I wish we could play them on the show, but yeah. So what's your thoughts on this, man? Pleading not guilty.
Well, if you look at it, it was documents filed by Miramar Police Department investigators on February 14th Evidence from that scene of the shooting debunks Melly and Bortland's original claim. Bortland happened to be another gentleman that was a part of their whole camp that got arrested as well as being involved in a murder. The original claim that Sack, Chaser, and Juvie were killed in a drive-by shooting. Instead, investigators allege that the pair were shot from inside the Jeep, Compass, that were riding with Melly and Bortland. Detectives believe that Melly was the shooter sitting in the left rear passenger seat. They also believe that Melly and Bortland drove around with the bodies in the car for an extended period of time in order to buy time to come up with a story about their deaths. Man, now when you got this kind of evidence already, you got more.
Mm-hmm.
They brought them in. They talked about the situation because they had to play it off as a drive-by shooting, and now we find out more. Now we all know that cops do have a history and do have a track record of lying. We know that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have the video, when you have the evidence, man, this looks like this kid may have done a little more than what it seems. Now he's innocent till proven guilty.
Right.
We're going to wait and let the trial and let everything go ahead and play itself out before we can kind of jump to any more conclusion. But when you just look at it from the outside looking in, damn, man, this kid, I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, we'll wait to see, what goes down, with that. We don't want to give him that, respect, to see what happens. Maybe he's guilty, maybe he's innocent.
Right.
We weren't there, but, as soon as the outcome's there, we'll definitely have that, available. I'm going to turn my attention to this story real quick, man. This just popped up. This is breaking right here. Apparently R. Kelly, did an interview, his first interview since being released, on $1 million bond. And pretty much, I'll just play the clip, man. Here we go. R. Kelly. There's a piece of the interview from CBS.
Treat the undraft floor, and we are going to begin here tonight with an interview many have been waiting for. R. Kelly's first since being charged with sexual abuse last month. Gayle King of CBS This Morning just spoke with Kelly. The charges against the singer involve 4 women, 3 of whom were allegedly underage at the time. In an interview that just wrapped, Kelly told Gayle the accusations are lies. We have 2 clips here. Here is the first.
They are still talking about you with underage girls. Do you still sit here and say you have never been with underage girls? Can you really say that?
I sit here and say this. I had 2 cases back then that I said in the beginning of the interview that I would not talk about because of my ongoing case now. Okay, fair enough. But I will tell you this. People are going back to my past, okay? That's exactly what they're doing. They're going back to the past, and they're trying to add all of this stuff now to that, to make all of the stuff that's going on now feels real to people.
But the past is relevant with you with underage girls.
Absolutely no, it's not.
Why?
Because for one, I beat my case. When you beat something,
you were acquitted.
You can't double jeopardy me like that. You can't. It's not fair. It's not fair to nobody. When you beat your case, you beat your case.
But I'm not talking about the one case in which you were acquitted. I'm talking about the other cases where women have come forward and said, R. Kelly had sex with me when I was under the age of 18. R. Kelly was abusive to me emotionally and physically and verbally. R. Kelly took me in a black room where unspeakable things happened. This is what they're saying about you. These are old rumors.
Not true. What, they're old rumors, new rumors.
Why would they say this about you?
Not true.
Kelly became much more emotional as Gayle continued her questioning. Here's more of that.
And correct me if I'm wrong, that you have never held anybody against their will.
I don't need to. Why would I?
Well,
how stupid would that be for R. Kelly? With all I've been through in my way, way past, to hold somebody, let alone 4, 5, 6, 50, you said. Why, how stupid would I be to do that?
I didn't say
that's stupid, guys. Is this camera on me?
Yes, it's on.
That's stupid. Use your common sense. Don't forget the blogs. Forget how you feel about me. Hate me if you want to, love me if you want, but just use your common sense. How stupid would it be for me to, with my crazy past and what I've been through, right now I just think I need to be a monster and hold girls against their will, chain them up in my basement and don't let them eat and don't let them out unless they need some shoes down the street from their uncle. Stop it. Y'all quit playing. Quit playing. I didn't do this stuff. This is not me. I'm fighting for my life.
So that's you know, from CBS. You know, that article just freshly, you know, out. You can see the full interview. We'll leave the link, you know, to that, you know, in the description box. Real loaded, you know, right there, Sam, man. Real emotional. You didn't get to see it, but you'll get to see it later.
Yeah.
A lot of passions, actually really crying there. What do you think? This kind of, you know, does this change the tide for you? You know, because we you know, in the beginning we were kind of, you know, on the side of, you know, was this a conspiracy against this brother? Then more and more evidence came out, and then he got arrested. You know what I mean? So, what do you think about, you know, this outcry by R. Kelly?
Man, brother, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's a loaded. It's very loaded. Now, to talk about the back end, when he talks about the whole sex trafficking and the cult and the holding women against his will, I 1,000% agree with him on that. I think that we've talked about this numerous times, that if you're a grown woman and you decide you want to be in a situation or a relationship where there's multiple women around, that's your prerogative. That's what you do. No one has any justification in saying whether that's right or wrong. Jocelyn Savage, a grown woman. Her parents may not like where she's at, but if she decides to be where she's at, she decides to be where she's at. That is what it is. I don't really have anything to say about that. I really don't have much to put on the sex cult whole allegation. The pedophilia side of it. When he started talking about underage girls, he was trying to just say that they're trying to bring up my past. And this is where I feel like, damn, who was around him? They needed to get him to stop talking. He didn't have to show that side, because I think that in that side, that's going to kill him.
Think this interview right here is going
to kill him.
Think so?
I know so. I mean, do I know so? I don't want to say I know so, but how often do you see these kind of high profile situations where we're breaking news and somebody's talking about it? We would love to hear people talking about these situations before the trial happens. He was set to be in court in another couple of weeks. Like, why did his lawyer allow him to go and sit there? And although I believe
he may have needed it though, Sam, man, not to cut you off, because public, you know, they say that court, a lot of these cases are tried in the public. He may have needed to show, not to say, I don't know if it's going to help him or hurt him. I don't know yet. You know what I mean? But he may have needed to just show that emotion for the people who may have been on the fence, that may have been R. Kelly supporters, who just want you to speak out and say something, even if the lawyer says they want to hear. That's I mean, they love R. Kelly, the music. You know, he's the hero, superstar. So it may have touched people to say, look, this is a conspiracy to take this man down. This man may just be innocent of these charges. And he brought up points. He said, look, they put me in before I won. We just got finished saying the same thing about Michael Jackson. They brought him into court. He beat the cases. Right now, R. Kelly hasn't been convicted of any sexual crimes yet.
But okay,
as of yet,
did he give you any information to make you believe that Aaliyah wasn't that whole marriage license wasn't forged still? Did he give you any indication that he still wasn't on these sex tapes? I'm not saying that people aren't having conspiracies against him, but when I start looking at why, because I gotta ask why. If they got a conspiracy out against you, brother, why?
Sam, man, they back in the day they had the tapes too. Now they're saying they have new tapes. Back then they had the tapes. You still walk right or wrong.
Was he on? Okay, so it's up.
I ain't see it, but.
Okay. Well, now they're saying that they have tapes out there, and it's no doubt that it's
him. So yeah, man. You know, R. Kelly, he comes out, you know, very emotional. You thinking that this may, you know, indeed hurt him. I'm saying that it may help him, you know, but we only will see. But we do know that, you know, he beat these cases before. He had videotapes out and all, you know, all these heavy allegations. Now the Aaliyah thing, we know that's cut and dry. But right now, you know, it could turn into a situation, you know, if they're saying, here's my thing. If they're saying they got him on tape now and they're saying they got DNA evidence, I don't think he's going to win. This might be one of those last-ditch efforts for somebody to just, you know, just throw it all away and try to get the sympathy of the people. But I don't know, man. This is getting crazy by the day now.
I'm not mad at him for going out and doing it. I'm not saying that he's wrong for doing it. You just don't. It's not usually smart, because now a prosecution could pick what he said apart. A prosecution can now take what he said out here,
that's a good point,
and maybe take that and use that against him, which is often why you don't typically see defendants coming out and defending themselves. How many people were in a situation where their life was on the line that were innocent, that couldn't say a fucking word?
Right.
So it's just a game that you guys got to be smarter about. I think that in this situation where he just didn't openly go, I've never touched a 14-year-old girl in my motherfucking life. Are you kidding me? The way he defended himself when he came to that sex trafficking thing may be used against him. That's all I'm saying.
Because when he was kind of asked directly, he was just kind of like, well, it would be stupid for me to, you know what I mean?
He ran.
Yeah. He kind of, you know, you can look at it, you can read it how you want to read it. People want to read it different ways. But it's crazy, man. CBS has that interview. I'm sure I'll definitely can't wait to get in and watch that full interview, in its entirety, later on tonight. But the clip there was pretty, charged.
Wow, yeah, indeed, man. I wasn't expecting that. That was wow.
Yeah, and that actually just dropped. So yeah, man, R. Kelly, pretty much coming forward, proclaiming his innocence, saying he's fighting for his life. And this is one thing, again, if you were in that situation or anybody else in that situation, you never know how you will react.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? With your life being, forget the waiting to go to court. I got to say something in the public now because he's been quiet for years.
No, he really, very few. Right. Very few. But yeah, like throughout the years, he hasn't really been saying much about it, deflecting it here and there. And then he's made songs about it and things like that. But this is the most outspoken and most emotional we've ever seen. You could tell it's really getting to him.
Yeah.
It's getting to him.
Definitely. Any chance R. Kelly runs flight risk? Because he didn't get out with no bracelet. I don't think
maybe
like that.
When you and I didn't see it. Like I said, we're gonna watch it, and I don't know if we'll actually play the actual tape on the podcast. You'll definitely hear it. I don't know if we'll actually play the tape, but when you watch it, you can hear it. You can hear the pain and the panic in his voice. I'm sure you're gonna be able to see it in his eyes. I'm sure you just saw it.
Yeah.
Shit, why not?
Yeah, definitely looks like a man in turmoil.
Yeah,
definitely, man. But yeah, that's R. Kelly, man. You're tuned into the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother Old God and the Sandman. Going in today on this Tuesday. We're going in today, man. Yeah, so if you're listening on YouTube, as always, go ahead and hit the like button and make sure that you go ahead and share this video with at least one friend. We do appreciate your cooperation in advance. I know Sandman you have one or two.
Yeah, man. I want to talk about Will Smith. So I dropped yesterday on IG. I dropped this to you actually.
Yes, sir. But you tuned into the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother Old God and Sandman. Going in today, we want to say peace to everybody listening on Google, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you're listening to this platform. Please do us one favor. Go ahead and share this podcast with at least one other person if you're listening. We do appreciate it in advance. Yeah, man. That's all I got actually over here on my side, Sandman.
Yeah, I got one more story real quick. Just a quick opinion. We see Dave East. He will be playing the role of Method Man. He'll be playing Method Man in an American Saga. It's a Wu-Tang movie coming out on Hulu. It's a series coming out. Dave East playing Method Man in that movie. What's your quick thoughts on that, man?
That's gonna be dope. I think he's worthy, to definitely do that. Dave East, I think, is one of the most underrated rappers, out here right now. And I even slept on him for a few, probably the first couple of years. I was sleeping on Dave East, but when I heard him with Styles P, I was like, man, this dude could really, do his thing. And in the future, I definitely look forward to seeing what he has, definitely in the music arena.
Yeah, let me just read a little bit on what Dave East is going to be doing. Dave East will take on Shotgun, the character based on Method Man. Shotgun is described as having a knack for rhymes and takes pride in being the assistant manager at the concession stand next to the Statue of Liberty. He also described as staying above the street war. So it's going to be dope, man. I think he's really going to be able to display his talent, not only in acting, but still in music, or not only in music, but in acting as well. And I'm looking forward to it too, man. Shout out to Davey. Shout out to Wu-Tang. They'll be coming to our city in a couple months, man. June 15th, I'm going to try to get us in there and have a conversation too with them brothers, because that's going to be electric.
Dope.
June 15th. Yep.
It's going to be dope, man. But yeah, man, another episode of the Uncensored Truth podcast is in the books, man. I want to implore everybody also to go to hiphopun.com when you get a chance. That's our official website. Go over there and check out some of the cool articles we got going up over there. Also, stay tuned for the Wake and Bake podcast coming real soon. Y'all want to be dialed in for that one. That one's going to be electric, and fire. And that's pretty much all I got over here on this side, Sam, man.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to the Wake and Bake podcast too. They're going to get a whole new side of Sam and oh God, man, it's going to be a whole different perspective from what you see over here at the Uncensored Truth podcast. We're looking forward to that. Make sure you stay tuned for the Thursday edition of the Uncensored Truth podcast, and of course live on Friday evening, exclusively on Hip Hop News Uncensored. We will be in the building at 8 p.m. talking to the people, going over this week's hottest topics in hip hop. I'm sure we'll have R. Kelly, Michael Jackson, and more on the radar for that day, man. But yeah, until then, another great show, brother. Oh God, let's get up out of here.
Yeah, we out.